The Great London Beer Flood Explanations, 1814. They say London has seen its share of strange disasters, but nothing prepares you for the night the city drowned in beer. On an October evening in 1814, in the crowded slums of St. Giles, people heard a sound, deep, metallic, and wrong. A sound like iron splitting under the weight of something colossal. And before anyone could even shout a warning, the brewery walls began to tremble. Inside the Moo and Company brewery, a massive vat, 20 feet tall and filled with nearly 1 million pints of porter, gave a violent shudder. Workers froze. Another shudder. Then the explosion. The iron hoops snapped like brittle twigs, and a roaring wave of dark beer surged forward, smashing through brick, wood, and anything foolish enough to stand in its way. Outside, residents felt the ground vibrate before the liquid wall burst onto the streets, 15 feet high, barreling through homes and alleys of the St. Giles Rookery. For a moment, no one understood what they were seeing. It looked like floodwater, except it was thick, dark, and smelled of malt. Neighbours scrambled onto tables, stairs, broken furniture, anything that could lift them above the torrent. Some screamed for loved ones. Some tried to wade through, only to be swept off their feet by the sheer mass of the wave. Others stood frozen, watching beer swallow entire rooms in seconds. By nightfall, the flood had left destruction, heartbreak, and a stunned city behind. But what came next would spark a debate that echoes through history. Was it truly an accident, or the result of something much more avoidable? The brewery insisted the vat had been old, but perfectly safe. They claimed the iron hoops had snapped without warning. Unforeseen, they said, unpreventable. But critics weren't convinced. Workers had complained for months about the weakened metal bands. Some claimed the managers had ignored the signs, tiny leaks, noisy shifts, the quiet groans of overstressed iron. Others whispered that the brewery had pushed its equipment to the limit, storing more beer than the aging vats were meant to handle. If true, then the flood wasn't just a freak accident. It was negligence. Industrial carelessness hiding behind the language of tragedy. In the court inquiry that followed, the jury sided with the brewery. No fines, no punishment, nothing but the faint smell of porter drifting through the streets where lives had been changed forever. And yet, the questions never stopped lingering. Why did a vat that size have no backup restraints? How could 1 million pints breach walls so easily? And why were warnings dismissed, if they ever reached the right ears at all? Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between. In a city growing faster than its safety standards, where industry raced ahead of caution, and where one night the price of oversight became a flood. But the people of St. Giles never forgot, and neither has history. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to help the channel grow.